Money and influence, power corrupts. You know, like Ecclesiastes 7:7 says, a gift destroyeth the heart. Money and influence, power corrupts. Atina is not mentally capable of dealing with a young woman. That's why I said earlier, there was no such thing as boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay? Just at the age of 20 and up is when you read the scriptures, our people got married. 20 and up. Not these young ages where you're emotionally immature. You don't know how to handle an argument and say, you want to fight, you want to hit her. That's not how you deal with it. But you got to be taught that, and that starts from young. And then when they get to that marriageable age to get married, they're emotionally and mentally able to deal with a spouse. You understand that?
How do we fix this situation?
Again, watch this. I'm going to go to Ephesians. See, I keep going to scriptures, but I'm telling you, this is the answer. The Bible's always the answer for our people. When you go to the book of Ephesians, okay? Now, correlates with what I read earlier in Psalms, but watch this. Ephesians 4:24. 4:23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. It starts here. You have to be able to sit down and study, pray, apply God's laws. That's where the change comes.
I like the apply part. I like the apply part, which is very important. Apply.
And that takes time. Like many of our young men and women that come from a same-sex relationship or lifestyle, they should not be getting married right away. They need to wean themselves off of that for at least, my opinion, it's opinion, 5 years, okay, of studying, praying, applying. Abstain from all sexuality until your mind is converted to the Word of God. Now you're somewhat mentally able, spiritually able to deal with the opposite sex. Because you grew up in a lifestyle where you had a disdain for the opposite sex. And that takes time.
How do you, because as a man of power, right? How do you keep your ego in check, and how do you keep your sexual urges under control?
Listen, I'd be a liar if I ever said them. You know, we all get them thoughts, but through studying, praying, and applying, keeping your moral compass pointed north, it's a constant fight. It's a consistent fight. Women come around you, hey, how you doing? They want to touchy feel, they want to have counsel. And I always tell the young men, never have a counsel one-on-one with a female. Have women in there, senior women of age and older brothers. Why? Because I'll give an example. Just years ago, a long time ago. So, Bishop, can I talk to you? What is it, sister? Is it okay if I use the shower head to masturbate myself? I'm like, whoa, why are you talking to me about this stuff? She gonna say, brother so-and-so is the father of my child. You know they want to take pictures with you. And then she put the baby on that brother. And when they took the test, it turned out he never had any sexual contact with her. Atina is not mentally capable of dealing with a young woman. That's why I said earlier, there was no such thing as boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay? Just at the age of 20 and up is when you read the scriptures, our people got married.
It's all right. Give me that. If the Queen sees, I can have Joffrey's children now. Help me flip it over. Where are you going?
To tell her grace.
You'll say nothing to anyone. Do you understand?
I'm fit to bear children for the king. A prospect that once delighted you, bringing little princes and princesses into the world. The greatest honor for a queen.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this faith, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I guess I'm going to start with this video with the Bishop Nathaniel and his Christian take as being a Hebrew Israelite. As I said, this has to be one of the most deceptive camps because they merge Christianity and the truth. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to read a lot of scriptures, but I'm probably going to go to some Google, right? I'll go to some online etymology, various, and just some sources and just some common sense. That makes sense, right? So anyway, he says that you have to be 20 years old to get married. I don't know if he's quoting in Numbers 1 about the men going off to battle, but I don't think he understands that a grown man in the ancient times could marry a 13, 14-year-old woman if she was 12 and in puberty. We're going to show you that too. It's all over Google. It's the truth. It's just out there. Any one of you who are emotional and you might have a daughter and you're getting bothered by this, then turn off the video at this point because you're not going to like what I have to say, okay? But it's the truth. Now, we don't condone grown 40-year-old men trying to marry a 12, 13-year-old young woman. As Romans say, you got to follow the laws of the land anyway. So this is part of the punishment in itself. So I'm going to go to read Deuteronomy quick. I'm going to read a scripture real quick. And then we're going to take off from there and then go into other literature or whatever. Deuteronomy 22 and 28. If a man findeth a damsel that is a virgin. So now you see two different words here. A virgin could mean a young girl or someone who hasn't been touched. With clearly here, when you see damsel, it's both. Right? It's a young woman that hasn't been touched, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found. Let's see what the 29th verse says. Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver. Now we went into this about the taking doctrine, the which they say the rape doctrine or whatever, but according to the Bible, right? And they'll say it in other contexts. If the crime is committed, then you would give the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, because then what good is it at that point? You lock him up or you hang him and castrate him, but she liked it, then what do you do then? Now how does she move on into the new relationship? And that's what caused the mindset of what you see today, right? You have these Eves that want to make their decisions of who they want, and because they look good, but then when it gets to the next level, it doesn't work out, so they want to get rid of them and then go to the next man because they're not doing what they want them to do. So you see the confusion, and this is why the Lord said that all these curses was going to come upon us. Now, we're going to go into maybe look up some words, I guess. Deuteronomy 22, 28. Damsel, it means a girl, damsel, right? Which we got to go into what is called puberty. So let me read a couple of you can even look up what the word puberty means. It's not like it's the hardest thing in the world to look up and understand. So we're going to look here at one site. This is where we know this is making sense. This is Google. I didn't even have to pull up the article or nothing. I asked the question, how many eggs does a girl have at the age of 13? And really, when you want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, Bishop Nathaniel says you're supposed to get married at 20. I hear people say the age of consent is 18. How do you determine who's mature enough at what time and what age to do what needs to be done? You can't say every person that's at age 18 is mature enough to handle any situation, or 12, or 13, or 14. This is why you have a moon cycle. This is why a woman has what you call a period, a moon cycle. When it's her time is ready, her time might be 12 years old. Another woman might be 13. Some even do it earlier. But even though they do it earlier, they're not come to full cycle yet. So this is why the age was normally 12. If it happened at 11, yeah, but they would still wait till around 12 or so. Then you had 13, and some happened at 14. Some happened as young as 9. So according to the moon, right, this is why you have what you call a monthly cycle. Now, it says here, when a girl, this is not even 12, when a young lady, you know when you go to school, if any of you been in middle school, elementary, and them young girls at 12, 13 years old, they would say, young ladies, keep walking. Keep a single file, young ladies. And they would march them down the hallway. Why are they calling them young women and young ladies? Because they are. Anyway, it says when a girl reaches puberty, right, she has between 300,000 and 400,000 eggs. Think about that. Yet with the monthly loss of oocytes slows down. Let me see what that is. You think about that though, right? A young girl, young woman, because now she's puberty, she reached full maturity. All right, and she might not be fully matured at that point, but she is of age or you could say maturity. That's what it is. It says a cell in the ovary which may undergo meiotic divisions, a form of oxym or whatever it is. I'm not going to go into that. But we're going to go ahead and say here 300,000 or 400,000 eggs. We know with an animal, you can have a dog or a cat or any other kind of animal. Their age of maturity depends on when their cycle is ready for them to do what they do. This is the same thing with humans, the same thing with us. Some women might not be ready at 11, 12, 13, 14. Some may be even ready at 16. But as I put the clip in the movie, when you was promised to somebody, hey, that's what it was. So anyway, it says 300 to 400,000 eggs. Now let's see if this makes sense. By the time you hit 20, you got now to 150,000 to 300,000 eggs. To the time of 30s, you got 100,000, 150,000 eggs. The late 30s, 27,000 eggs. So you've passed your prime. So now let me say, does this make sense? Does it make sense for a 20-year-old woman, 18 even, 19, 20-year-old woman, now if she wants to be 20 in this day and age and get married and have children, yeah, okay. But does this make sense according to nature? 20 years old, 150,000 eggs. In 30 years, it drops to almost half in 10 years? So you mean to tell me her time for reproduction is only about 10 to 15 years? How is this making any kind of sense? You might think that's a long time. But as far as reproduction is concerned, because every time you lay with somebody, you're not going to get pregnant. So there's a time cap. They're putting a time cap on marriage. Right? This doesn't make sense. So when you look up this word puberty, let me see if I have it up. Puberty means, right, and we just read here, when you go over here, let's see what it says. 2028, let me look here. A damsel female servant, a marriageable age, a young woman. So let me read here real quick. It says, prior to the Industrial Revolution, women around the world were often married at an early age. So we can clearly see that this is something new, right? Usually soon after reaching puberty. These practices were carried over well into the 19th century, and we're going to get into that too, in societies with largely rural populations. So now we got to look up the word puberty. Puberty is a condition of being able to reproduce sexually. That's what puberty means. Now, the Bishop Nathaniel says, well, you're not mature enough to make decisions and you don't know what's going on. The whole purpose for a young woman, let me jump forward again, and then I'll get back to that. It says, I asked, how old was Isaac, right, when he took Rebekah? It says here, since Isaac was 26 years old at the time and 40 when he married Rebekah, right? This is what it said. She thus, Genesis 25 and 20, thus 14 years old when she married. So today's society, he'd be a pedophile, right? But according to then, that wasn't the case. The whole purpose of when an older man married a young woman, they would grow together. That's why you had the bride, and then you had the groom, or the groom and the bride. You groomed the bride. That's what that was all about. So the young woman, this is why young women today like a lot of older men. The grooming process, which the society has an issue with. If an older man, she pleased to deal with an older man and she was a younger woman, he groomed her to like what she liked. But of course, sexual liberation and feminism kind of changed all of that. Just saying, to the point. So anyway, puberty means the condition of being able to reproduce sexually in maturity. So when we go back here, I'm going to read the book of Titus 2 and 4. It says that because at the end of the day, the reason why the young women don't know how to be young women, because at the age of 4 and 5, you done gave them dolls and you had them play with microwave ovens, fake microwave ovens, which was really geared towards you learning how to have children. This is why they gave little girls that's 6 years old, they always want baby dolls. Why is that? At least in my day they did. I don't know about now what the hell they want. But they had dolls. They had those little microwave ovens or those little toaster ovens that was fraudulent. I mean, they was like, toy ovens, But what they're teaching and putting in the mindset of people today, of course they're not going to grow up. At a certain age, they should be in the kitchen knowing what to do and how to cook and things like that. Well, today they're just taking them to McDonald's. That's all they do now. Anyway, Titus, again, it's that liberation. It says the aged woman, likewise, that they be in behavior and become of holiness, not false accusers, not giving too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may be able to teach the young women to be sober and to love their husbands and to love their children, to love their children, well, we see what's happening now, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, and to the word of God, Yahweh may not be blasphemed. So the reason why we're in the condition we're seeing now, because we are under utter curse, right? We're under utter curse. So this man, Bishop, is saying you have to be 20 years old, right? Everybody have to be 20. How do you determine who's mature enough to be married and who isn't? And in the society today where there's so much divorces and sicknesses going on, is anybody really qualified to be a husband or wife in this day and age, especially when society gives the wife the ability to divorce you and move on at any moment? So anyway, it doesn't make sense that you have 300, 400, almost 500,000 eggs at 13 years old, but in your 20s you got 150,000 eggs. Make that make sense. Why did the Lord do that? Did the Lord make mistakes? And another issue I'm having, I know when I was in school, everybody wants to try to cover it up. When I was in school, I got excited about seeing the young women. The young women would get excited by seeing the men. And they put you both together with hormones kicking back and forth, doing exactly against nature. We was trying to use nature, but you was going against nature. Telling these young men and women they couldn't do this and do that. And it was always them little girls wound up getting pregnant. And the teachers always say, oh, they're hot in their ass. What was wrong with that? That's nature. You can't change what nature is set up to do. You know, they have movies like that. The Blue Lagoon in certain movies, you take two teenagers and throw them on an island and watch. They may not know what to do at 8 years old, but watch in due time, she winds up pregnant. I guarantee it. She gonna wind up pregnant. So now I looked at this word damsel. It means a young unmarried woman, especially a maiden of gentle birth. Right? So it can be very young. Okay? From the earlier damsels, that's pretty much on that. Maiden, applied to unmarried women. Okay? We got that. So we go to lady, and then we go to young. It says young lady, youthful, young, recent, new, fresh. This is why it says a damsel, right? And virgin. Recent, new, fresh. That's when your life actually starts. Especially as a woman. That's when it starts. When puberty hits. Now you're ready. But now there's so much confusion that I've even heard stories of the woman, the mothers buying their daughters special devices to cure them, to take the heat off of them, right? So they can stay cool. So now we can clearly see that you're robbing nature. You're actually going against nature. This is what's happening. Why? In the name of, not Jake making children. We know where it all comes from, man. We know where this all comes from. So we go to a girl, and it says here, a girl, a damsel, a female servant, or a young woman, marriageable young woman, concubine, and a prostitute. This is in the Blue Letter Bible. And some of you will see all the evidence. It's all over Google. It's all in the Bible. It's, the scriptures in 1 Corinthians 7:26, talking about the passing a flower of her age when she reaches puberty. Even Yahushua, the one you call Jesus, they call the young boy lad. He was 12 years old, and he went to do his father's business. It wasn't that they was hunting for him because he was a lost child, right? They were watching over him, because you still had to watch over him. But he was saying, hey, I want to do my father's business. They didn't know where he was going. He didn't let them know. That was the problem. And he said, I'm going to do my father's business. Because even when you were 12, you were still being watched over certain things, but you were still considered a man at that point. You were still considered a man. And you were being groomed to be a man. But in this society, what are they giving little boys, man? Rap music, toy guns, GMO foods, McDonald's, just all kinds of crazy stuff, man. It says here, in 1929, the age of consent of marriage of sexual intercourse was raised to 16 years old. Wait a minute. In 1929, it was raised to it? Sounds like somebody is selling out. That's what it sounds like to me. You're trying to keep the Roman Catholic doctrine to keep the children of Israel oppressed, man. And these blind followers follow it. And females in the age of 1970, the age of majority, right? And it says, and the females, right? And males. Then it says the age of majority was lowered from 21 to 18. So just because you were 21 years old or 23 years old couldn't mean you didn't have sex with a younger woman. That's the whole point. Anyway, I hope this lesson was edifying.